Welcome to Multifamily Grit, where we bring in the experts to share their stories of the celebrations and struggles of one of the most important industries in the U.S., multifamily property management. Kerri sat down with Gladys Stephenson, Senior Director of Compliance and Asset Management at Devon Management, where she's leading the charge on compliance strategy, operational excellence, and the company's expansion into third-party property management. With nearly 30 years of real estate experience that began in the maintenance department, Gladys brings a deep, authentic understanding of what it takes to lead with both grit and grace in today's multifamily landscape. Her journey is rooted in resilience. Starting as a teenage mom working maintenance to qualify for public assistance, she turned that stepping stone into a thriving career spanning affordable housing, market-rate communities, commercial properties, and acquisitions. Gladys has built compliance departments from the ground up, held senior leadership roles across multiple organizations, and is now at the forefront of Devon's rebrand. From a family-run owner-operator to a forward-thinking multifamily firm exploring new growth through third-party partnerships. Today, we dive into how Gladys is shaping the future of compliance, why she believes strong leadership starts with supporting your teams, and how her passion for process, technology, and training is laying the groundwork for long-term scalability. We'll also unpack accountability in affordable housing, what it means to elevate long-tenured team members, and why she's so driven to balance heart with high standards in everything she does. This is a conversation about resilience, leadership, and building the next chapter from the inside out. Before we get started, this episode is sponsored by Fortress, the only core property management operating system built with an emphasis for affordable owners and operators. Fortress revolutionizes affordable management with features focused on automating housing assistance charges and payments to keep ledgers clean and accurate, centralizing file reviews and document storage through Fortress and AWS, and a free in-system smart waitlist to ensure your property stays in compliance. And don't forget, if you like what you hear today, please like, subscribe, and share with someone you think would enjoy this episode. Now let's get into it. Here's Kerri Davis sitting down with Gladys Stephenson for a conversation packed with grit, heart, and the lessons that come from building a career and a company's future from the ground up. Gladys, thank you so much again for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's exciting to be on.
Gladys, before we dig in, would you mind sharing with our listeners how you got your start in the industry? It's such a phenomenal story, and I'm looking forward to hearing it.
So I usually count the amount of years based on the age of my oldest child. He's 29.
Okay.
And I had him as a teenager. And during those times, in order for me to get accepted on public assistance, looking for money, I needed to go to work.
Yeah.
And they created this workforce program where you were able to get food stamps and cash assistance and assistance to pay your rent if you went and did part of this program. And lucky for me, I was sent to work at a nonprofit organization, which was the very, very early stages of the low-income housing tax credit program.
Oh, wow.
And different funding programs and things of that nature. And I started working in the maintenance department. Within 4 months of working there, and they were not paying me. They were literally signing my hours to confirm that I was there so that I can get the payments that I needed, at home to survive with my child. And after 4 months of being there, they offered me a full-time job.
Yeah.
The maintenance department, and I just kept growing from there. And almost 30 years later, here I am and still going.
Oh, I love that story. Love it so much. I've had a few guests on the podcast who really started at the very bottom. In fact, one of my favorite podcast guests actually immigrated to the U.S. And when she did, the very first job that she got was in property management, and it was actually more at hospitality, so more kind of like in the hotel side of things, but still just like how difficult things can be when your circumstances aren't ideal, and yet you still have to figure out a way to make it work.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a trying time, and I refused to fail.
Yeah.
I did what needed to be done, and back then, this workforce program, whatever you received from state, you had to pay back. So as soon as my employment turned permanently, they did start to deduct the wages from my checks. So, but that's the purpose of the program, right? You get on it, you get the assistance you need, you get off it, and you move forward and you pay back into society, which I have no problem with. So I just wish that those programs were around today because
Yeah.
you know, not a lot of what is the word that I'm looking for? There's not a lot of action to recouping a lot of the money that's thrown out there. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like someone can be on the assistance for however long they want to be, and
Yeah.
it's not fair to any.
Well, and even what you have to do to receive the assistance now, it's nothing like what you went through.
Not at all. I was clocked every Friday. I needed to go into my caseworker's office and submit my timesheet personally. It wasn't like I was able to fax it because they thought that it was, altered or it was fraudulent. So I had to personally get it signed by my supervisor at that time, submit it to the worker, and then they would approve the funds for the coming week that I needed to survive with my child. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And I shared this with you personally too. My mom actually had me when she was a teenager as well, and actually didn't even graduate high school. It's crazy to me. I'm so proud of her and grateful to her for what she's done for me and the fact that she gave me so much assistance and so much confidence that I went on to law school, and it's crazy what you can do in a generation if you when your parents, like you said, like are not going to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do all you can for your child, and
Yeah.
everyone's circumstance and situation is different. But for me
Yeah.
personally, I'm a foster child. And I always said to myself, I will never put my child through that. So whatever it takes for me to make sure that there's a roof over their head and food on the table at the end of the day, I'm going to do what needs to be done. And I was lucky enough, I was fortunate enough to land this position at a property management company that I did
Yeah.
not know 30 years later I would still be in the same field.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's such a great story. And um gosh, I didn't know that you were a foster child. The nonprofit that I chair that we started about 10 years ago is now heading into the foster care space actually. We are yeah, so we are actually now that this part I cannot take credit for. One of the partners at Elmington, Ben Brewer, um, he and his wife started to like really get into the foster care system and just try to understand like what was happening specifically in Tennessee and kind of the issues that existed in the foster care program. And one of the areas they found that had the biggest opportunity for improvement is the aging out process, like what happens to these kids when they age out of the system. And
It's difficult. It's difficult, and
yeah,
it's a soft spot for me. But anytime I can speak on the foster care system and my experience in it, I hope that it helps, whoever's
yeah,
building an organization to help them. That is key right there, giving the tools that they need to get on to the next level, move on to the next level, and succeed in that level.
yeah,
I aged out of foster care. It was literally, I signed a piece of paper, said I was 18 and no longer wanted to be on foster care. The caseworker accepted it and moved on. That was it. There was no, here is kind of like a stipend to get you on your feet. Here is some resources to find suitable housing. There's no, list of here's some, organizations that are hiring for you. There was no information for me to take that on for myself. So I had to figure it out and go from there.
yeah,
So in the aging out part for foster care, and I feel that the system has failed a lot of us. And me, who I love to train, I love to mentor. Whenever I can share a bit of advice or information, I'm all open to it. So
yeah,
foster care has nothing to do with property management, but it kind of humbles me in a way because it's where I started to where I am now. And if that
hmm
piece of history or story can help someone else, I'm more than happy to share it.
yeah. Interestingly, we're trying to find a way that property management does potentially intersect with foster care. So that's yeah. So what we're doing is the ownership of Elmington is starting to purchase um, senior living facilities that have been shut down, which there's a lot of them around right now, and retrofit them to become like studio apartments for foster care children. And they're going to, so that it would be like their first apartment. And they're starting to receive funds from the governor's office to help them with that, with retrofitting those units and then providing case management to those kids in one central location. And so maybe a conversation for you and I to have offline, but if you'd like to know more about what they're doing and potentially getting, and also like we don't want to do it just in Tennessee. We want to find a way for it to become a repeatable program across the United States. Not that we would do it, but that we would teach other investors and developers how to do it. Yeah, so that like your company could figure out a way to do it in California and in others anyway. So yeah, you and I should talk about that offline. But yeah, I absolutely love that. And talk about grit. I mean, coming from that environment, one of the toughest situations you could come from, and finding a way to create so much incredible success. But I do want to ask though, I interview a lot of people on my podcast, and I hear a lot about women starting in leasing. I very rarely hear about maintenance from a woman. I think I've heard it only once before. So I have to ask, how did starting in that experience, how did that shape the leader that you are today and your leadership style today?
It humbles you. Starting from the very, very bottom, where you think you're not being seen, you're not being heard, you're pretty much the person in the maintenance department getting that work order to get it done. When you hear maintenance back then, it's just like, oh, he's just a janitor or she's just a janitor cleaning a toilet. That's what they do. But there's so much more than that, right? They build relationships with residents.
Yeah.
That it's built on trust, right?
Yeah.
And it's built on conversations, and it's built on making the residents feel happy and comfortable at home. So I did see a lot in that sense. And then, working from the maintenance department, going into the office, taking in the work orders, getting the calls, and hearing the residents upset that, certain things have not been done, and relaying that back to the maintenance team that I was working with prior, like, hey, we got to do something better here. Communication is lacking. We got to improve that.
Yeah.
And then just moving on to I did the leasing, I did the assistant property manager, the property manager, senior property manager. I've climbed the ropes, right? And in every level of that, there's a different perspective on how things are and how you relate and speak to your team members, right?
Yeah.
And always tell them, never close yourself off to learning. There's always room to learn, even as a leader.
Yeah.
Right. And always acknowledge your team, because when you're sitting at a round table, there may be someone who knows more than you. Right.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be upset about that or feel like they're going to take your job or feel less than. You should be inquisitive and say, oh, wow, thanks. I didn't see it that way, and I appreciate you giving that feedback. So I always take back from my peers, my colleagues, those that I'm training, supervising, in the sense of it shaping me is just people.
Yeah.
People, we are humans, we all have feelings. And ultimately, I was once told, you treat the janitor with the same respect you treat the CEO of the company, right?
Yeah.
And I've kept that model going. It doesn't matter what your background is, where you come from, what language you speak. I will find a way to try to make it so that you understand what we're trying to build and you come with me as we grow.
Yeah.
So it's humbling starting from that aspect, because it opens your eyes to a lot of things that you don't see. You have a lot of senior level executives that haven't started there, right? They've straight to the top, and that's great for them. But it sometimes disconnects them from what's really happening at the lower level and what they need. And for me, starting there, I know, okay, this is my experience. Let me make sure that the team feels supported, that they have that platform to come and speak to me, and that there's open communication and transparency all around.
Yeah, I love that. I remember the days of arguing with asset managers when I was responsible for our third-party fee management, the days of arguing with our asset managers to share renewal bonuses with maintenance technicians, right? And they're like, well, they're not the ones who do the leasing. They're not the ones who are interacting with the residents or providing the customer service. And I'm like, of course, these are the days before we had all these resident surveys and all this data around like why residents do or don't move, right? And this was like a decade ago. And I'm arguing for these bonuses to be increased so that we can divvy some out to the maintenance technicians. And, asset managers who've never worked on site, who went straight from, a degree in finance into a real estate firm. And now they look at these financials all day long, and all they want to do is drive down costs where they can. And they're not looking to add any bonuses or additional payroll. And, we're arguing that those maintenance technicians are the reason why residents renew. Like, they are the primary reason. And if you've never worked on site, you don't know that. You don't understand it.
I mean, sitting at an executive level now, I still go back to the property manager seat, right? I jump in here at Devon whenever the site teams need that push, that help, or it's crunch time. We have no issues jumping down to what needs to get done to help them, right? Even though we've got things going on in the back end, but we can table that for as long as we're able to make sure that our team is supported in that aspect. So I feel that everyone on the executive team, if they're able to, and even if they're not, find a time, visit the sites, see it from the bottom up, and speak to your team members and hear them out, and ask them questions that you normally wouldn't ask, or surround yourself with a different group of people to understand your company better, that we're trying to make better for you and make it grow. So definitely important to stay in touch and in tune with your team at all levels, and especially the maintenance, because they are the most overlooked group of people in the industry. Because again, it's that mentality of, it's the maintenance, they don't deserve this, they don't, like you said, they're not, they don't deal with customer service, but they do. I can't tell how many surveys come through for us that they're giving accolades to our maintenance team for such a wonderful job that they're doing, and keeping the property clean, and the curb appeal, just their overall persona and aura of being friendly when residents walk by. It's important.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. And I do agree with you. Like, it takes having that experience on site to know that. But then I think it goes above and beyond that, because, before I was actually running the property management company, and even when I was, it still takes a culture and an overall leadership and ownership that will embrace that knowledge that you and I have had from walking the units, from sitting down with the maintenance technicians, from having those conversations and being a part of that. And I don't pretend to go as far down as you did, but I have leased units. I've worked on site. I've sat in when an assistant manager was out or a community manager was out. And it's one thing to have the knowledge, but it's a whole nother to work at a company with the leadership that believes in you and that hears that and listens to you and invests in that. So and obviously I feel like that must be at some point a driving reason behind why you returned to Devon. So I'd love for you to tell me a little bit about your story at Devon, who they are as a company, and your time and experience there.
Devon is home to me. And I actually posted something, I want to say it was yesterday, if not this morning, about the culture of Devon, right? For me, I worked at Devon. I started working at Devon back right before COVID. So January of 2020. COVID came March 2020, everything was shut down. And it was a trying time for all of us, right? I had just switched, from a job to this one. All of a sudden, world is on fire and we don't know what we're doing. But the culture at that point in time was, we're going to be okay, right? If a resident manager or a maintenance worker needed to work from home, or, for me personally, I have a husband who is diabetic, and, it was hard for him because we wanted to make sure that we didn't bring it into our home.
Of course,
I was considered an essential worker, and I was the only one going back and forth from work to the home. So if it came home, it's my fault, right? So I spoke with our COO, at that point in time and explained, look, I need to work from home for a little bit just until things calm down and make sure that things are okay. And he said, okay, fine, no problem. That was the first time I worked from home.
Yeah.
And started to realize like, wow, we can get a lot done from working from home. That was the whole era where it began. But the culture in itself, they cared about us.
Yeah.
They wanted to make sure that we were okay. We were going through a pandemic. We still needed to perform our duties, but they were flexible in, giving us the time that we needed to adjust to what was happening in the world. I did end up leaving, in search of growth, because at the time I had grown to the highest level I can possibly grow to. And I left. I had other executive leadership positions, and I was gone for about 4 years, almost 5. And I returned to Devon last year, and the door was always open. I've always held communications. I've always, spoke to the COO and kept in touch and, how's life in the traveling world? And now how's this state? How's that state? And, he would say to me, are you sick of traveling yet? Are you but I wasn't ready, right?
Yeah.
Until he reached out again last year and said, hey, I'm just wondering, are you tired of traveling again? Funny thing, yes. It was a point of time in life that changes needed to be made. And you'll see on LinkedIn that all these people are traveling and going to different states and all the wonderful things, but what you don't see is the tiredness and not home all the time and not seeing your family or your pets or things of that nature. It takes a toll on you sometimes. And I said, you know what? Yes, I'm ready to come back and open doors. I just came in but I came in with a different vision.
Okay.
In as a senior property manager, right? That's when I left. I was a senior property manager / compliance manager. I came back as the director of compliance and asset management. The asset management part comes in because Devon was also going through his transition in the sense that we're ready to grow. We're ready to branch out. For 30, 40 years, they've primarily, owned and managed in the Hudson Valley region.
Okay.
But we're growing, right? Things are changing, times are changing.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It is definitely exciting. So the purpose of me coming back is to, one, spearhead the compliance department, but also spearhead this new branch, this new window of opportunity of their third-party management services. So it's exciting to do that. It's also exciting that we are also rebranding, just a new look.
Yeah.
New ideas, new team members. Even with we have team members that have been with us for almost 30 years.
Oh my gosh.
So it's exciting for all of us, right? It gives the opportunity for growth for our current team members. It gives, opportunity for other people to join us. We just won earlier this year best employer in the Hudson Valley region here. So that was exciting.
Oh, congratulations. That means a lot.
So we're looking to grow. We're looking to double in size within the next 5 years, and I'm hoping to surpass that number, which I'm sure that we will.
If I was betting, I'd say you're absolutely going to blow it out of the water. That's my personal bet. I'll put it out there into the universe. I think you're probably going to, okay, let's see, in 5 years. And you guys are 3,000 units?
We're about 3,000 units.
Okay.
We do have a new property coming on board October. So it's going to push us over a little bit over the 3,000 mark.
Okay.
And as exciting as it can be, we are in the process of signing our very first third-party client.
Love it. Congratulations. That's so huge. When it comes to this growth situation, okay, you guys are 3,000 units today. Where do I think you'll be in 5 years? Oh, I bet you're going to 5x it. Easy. I bet you'll be at 15,000 units easy.
I also feel the same way, but I want to keep that small number, just not to disappoint myself. If I don't hit
I like it.
1,000 mark. But if we hit the double mark of 6, 7, that's a milestone in itself. I do think that will surpass that, but I want to start out small and, be hopeful that it'll work out. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that with the team that we have,
Yeah.
that we have from ownership and, our CRO, our executive level team, and just the overall excitement of the team that we're
Yeah.
going to.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that so much. And I want to talk about this a little bit because, I want to dig into it a little bit because you came back, as you mentioned, like there had been a limitation on your ability to grow at Devon. And now Devon's looking to expand. And so now there is this opportunity again for you to grow. And you're spearheading this, the third party management campaign, this division. What I love, and I know that this is just getting off the ground and you're working throughout the rebranding and everything, but I'd love to ask, like, what's the most exciting thing about this to you? Like, what are you most excited about in getting this third party fee management off the ground?
I'm excited to bring Devon to the next level of where I know they can be.
Okay.
Because Devon is so important to me in what they've done for me, work-wise, professionally, life, it's one of those, I'm excited to be part of this. The reason I left the first time is because there was no growth and there was no conversation about the growth happening.
Mm-hmm.
And now that the conversation is happening and that I'm part of it and helping and lead that, I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
But most of all is bringing up our team, like exposing them to what I've been exposed to for the last 5 years of what's out there. And, just the opportunity to see other properties and how other people manage and just, the scope and the level of where we can get to is the excitement for me. Bringing our people up.
Yeah.
This growth is what's most important for me.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I love the passion with which you speak about elevating your team members and bringing them along as the company is growing. And I talk about that a lot at Fortress too. When I talk to my team about, Fortress growing and becoming more successful, one of the most exciting things about that for me is that some of those team members are now going to be promoted and they're going to get to manage other people. And this is why I tell my team all the time, when you're making decisions and when you're looking at your teams and how well things are going or how they aren't, or who's who is overperforming and who's underperforming, like I want you to look at it like it's your company. I tell anyone at my team who leads people, I tell them all the time, if you're leading a group of 6 people and if you left Fortress tomorrow and started your own company, if you would not try to take all 6 of those people with you, then whomever you wouldn't, it's time to move them along. Let them go find their destiny and replace them with someone that you would take with you, because this is your company. And the more that your team feels that and embodies that, then they can create opportunities for growth for themselves, which is just so rewarding.
Right. I mean, and, obviously growth is, increasing NOI, right? And increasing profit. But behind that, you can't do it without your
Yep.
team, right?
Yeah.
And they are the ones who give us, not, I don't want to say give us, but they're the ones that are the most important pillar in that growth, right?
Yeah.
We have to give them the tools and the resources that they need to better not only themselves for us, but for themselves to grow and want more.
Yeah.
I feel like every team member we have has a special niche
Mhm.
that they have, and we want to hone in on that. And we want to give them, instill in them the belief that we have in them to make sure that they grow and believe in themselves to be able to do that. So
Yeah.
all of this growth that we are going to experience is for them too. It's not just for us.
Yeah. It's awesome. And now I'm going to ask a not so rosy question, but that's the most exciting part about this growth and why you came back to Devon. What's been the most difficult part about setting yourself up for this next phase?
The difficult part is having the time.
Okay.
You want to be at every networking event you can possibly be at, but it's not possible.
Yeah.
I'm not only spearheading the third party management, but I'm also spearheading the compliance department, right? So I'm trying to grow my team and strengthen my team so that I can step away and focus more on the asset management side of things.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just I'm pacing myself, and I'm working with the executive level to say, hey, I know we want this and I know we want it tomorrow, but we've got to, pace ourselves so that we can be successful in it. And it's just a matter of getting, and I want to say this with, I can't say the word, but Devon has primarily been Orange County, New York.
Okay.
Ulster County, Sullivan County. This is our primary, this is our home base. I want to get Devon's name out there.
Yep.
Counties, neighboring states. We want to become nationwide at some point down the line.
Yeah.
The difficult part about that is being able to network, get to places where key players are. And, I feel like the rebranding and the whole social media is going to definitely give us that lift and push that we need.
Yeah.
But really getting Devon Management's name out there and letting them know what we're about.
Yeah. And I completely understand finding the time to do that is really hard. So you have a little bit of an open forum here. So I'd actually love to use this to then ask you, what is the message that you want to relay? And if you were pitching to a new client today about Devon taking over management of their assets, what would you say? What's the secret sauce that Devon holds that should enlist anyone to be interested in Devon managing their assets?
The secret sauce is our foundation,
Okay.
right? We are very organized and very structured. We have asset managers for New York State that look at us as, kind of like the person to go to when they're doing audits. When they speak to other companies or other owners, they always reference Devon and say, you should reach out to Devon because the way they handle their tax credit properties and their files in the organizations is just the overall community support that we give. And the way we handle things is what really puts Devon on the map. That
Yeah.
personal touch. You have a team with over 40 years experience, if not more, right? We have longstanding employees. We have knowledgeable and experts within our team members that we're not scared, right? We've been this mom and pop little management company. We're ready to grow, but we take on challenges, and there's nothing that we can't do because we're that confident in ourselves, in our foundation, and the way we handle things when we have to provide the support.
Yeah. I always say 5 years ago, I think I would have told you, 10 years ago, I would have told you that the key to success for a company is having the right people in the right places. And then number two would be having the right mission and culture articulated to those people. And today, I would absolutely disagree with that. I still stand by the people. I still stand by number one being the right people in the right places because, like you just said, you can, at the end of the day, growth is about revenue and NOI and those sorts of things, but that will not happen without people. I mean, I know we're in the age of AI, but AI is not making anyone money like that yet. So we still need the people, and the right people have to be in the right places. But number two would be, instead of mission and culture for me, it would be the process, which is what you're describing, right? It's like the process, the foundation, the structure, the plan that's in place so that people always know, like, I have the basics covered and I can always come back to, like, these are the ABCs and these are the things that have to happen. But once I have those things covered, I have the freedom and the creativity to go do these other things that I think of because I know the baseline is covered. And I just think that that's so important. And it's one of the things that I think that we struggle with in property management. So I think that that being your secret sauce is really actually very impactful.
Yeah, I mean, we pride ourselves in that, right? I also wanted to share that we have created our own CRM system internally that,
Yep.
although we use a property management software system and it comes with that, ours is tailored to how we want it.
Yeah.
providing certain reports to state auditors or investors or the accounting department, that CRM that we have created has been so impactful to everyone involved when dealing with it. It's, I know that there are other CRM systems out there. I've seen them out at NAA, and they're great innovation and how much they've come, far from it, but they still don't do what our CRM does.
Yeah.
Not into the details just yet. It'll be shared with our, new clients coming on board, but it's very impactful in the sense of how we use it for our system based with the foundation we've created.
Yeah. So I want to dig into that. I'm not asking you specifically to talk about the functions of the CRM, but how has having your own internal tool changed the way that your team operates?
We don't have to wait for the middleman to tell us what needs to get done or contact IT to help us when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Executive level, the executive team has the ability to fix that internally.
Yeah.
And just having our own ownership over it has been overall a great deal for us. I mean, we do have an IT person or the website, web design creator that created it. And he's always, there for us. But for the most part, we're assigned as admins and we can do what needs to get done. And I don't need to wait 24 hours for someone to get back to me to fix it, because sometimes I don't have 24 hours.
Yeah.
Sometimes the auditor wants something at the drop of a dime and I've got to create that report for them. So I think for me, that's a key.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And are you planning on expanding the tech? So right now it's your CRM and it obviously handles your wait list. But are you planning on expanding its use cases?
We're thinking about licensing our CRM
Okay.
and sharing it to others. We've had conversations about it. We are extremely proud of what we've created, and we want to share it with others. So the idea is floating at the table, and we're definitely going to share that information with every third-party client that we take on as a special service. But yeah, that's, we want to expand that as well.
That's awesome. And, obviously one of what can be one of the core needs in a software like that when you're managing as a CRM would be the need to integrate with your core property management software. Does it do that today? And if not, is it something you're planning on?
It does not do that today. However, we are in the process of making it happen.
Yeah, yeah. I could see where that would be really beneficial, but it can also tend to be a little bit of a struggle to complete those sort of like larger scale integrations.
It definitely takes time. It does integrate with our website, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And our clients, our potential residents have access to, filling out the application. We get notified immediately through our system. Our site managers do as well. I think on the larger scale is being able to integrate it with the PMS softwares out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I look forward to seeing more of this. I'm excited to see it when you guys are ready to show it off. I think it sounds like it's
It's happening soon. The launch is happening. We're definitely excited. Everyone's excited about what's to come for Devon.
Yeah, that's so fantastic. And we've talked so much about leadership and the growth of the company and the change and the rebrand and the software, but we haven't spoken much about something else that you're super passionate about, which is affordable housing and compliance. So you're really passionate about this. Why? Why is compliance a spot for you?
Compliance is a spot for me because I feel that this is where you really get to know a resident, right?
Okay.
Affordable housing in general, for me, I'm a product of affordable housing, right? There was a time in my life where as a teen mom, I didn't have the money or the job to pay the rent that, they were charging at that point in time. And if it wasn't for the affordable housing, opportunity, I would not have probably had an apartment for myself.
Yeah.
So that personal touch is what means the most to me, and being able to be on the side that makes the decision on how to help people, how to determine the rents, what the levels are going to be, the set asides and things of that nature based on the demographic in the local area. You know, I look more into it than just numbers on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
What is our
Yeah.
community lacking? What can we do? And, you know, it's important to be able to give that to everyone that needs it. Our owner here, you know, his passion is community, his people and what he can do for them, and the reason why he got into affordable housing is because of that. He's very passionate about veterans, as am I. My son is in the Army. I have family who are also military. He is passionate about seniors, you know, same here. So the affordable housing aspect is just important for me to make sure that people have a home to live in regardless of how much money they are making. As far as the compliance side of things, I love solving problems. I love being able to have the ability to say, hey, okay, you know, they don't meet the minimum income on this side, but maybe if they do XYZ, they'll be able to meet that minimum and still be, you know, in compliance and regulations with the program, right?
Yeah.
Fraudulent or anything of the sense. But more so is being able to teach back to my team.
Yeah.
I learned compliance as an assistant manager, having to put files together. And I would send it off to an auditor to have it reviewed because it was the initial file. And I would get back 2-3 pages of findings and I would cry, like, what is going on here? You know, and I would throw up the file, like, I give up. I don't know what I'm doing. But the problem there is that I was getting the findings, but I was not given the explanation as to why they were findings and how to fix them, right?
Yeah.
So instead of giving up, I kept moving forward. And my thought and training process is now, and this is what I tell my team, is when you're giving out findings, okay, you can't assume that the person receiving your findings understand what you mean,
Yeah.
right? You have to teach back. So when you're sending the findings back, give a clear explanation as to why it's a finding, okay?
Yeah.
And explain how to fix it and be transparent and open for them to come back and communicate with you, because I didn't have that, right? And it's important to not only communicate with the site level managers to make sure that we're in compliance with the regulations, but also the person waiting for that approval letter from us is so satisfying.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one quick story about an applicant that came to me many years ago. She came into me and she was a victim of domestic violence. And she had a child with her, and you know, she was frazzled. She didn't know what to do. She didn't know where to go. She didn't know what support was out there for her. And I was in the position to help her with that because in LIHTC and HUD, we have the Violence Against Women Act.
Bella.
Yep.
Right. We have resources that we can give them. And, you know, we had a, you know, conversation that gave her the resources. And I said, look, this is what I can give you. You're more than welcome to continue to apply. I can't make the decision for you, but reach out if you need anything. She came back a month later and said, you know, our conversation helped me move on and have the strength to do what needs to get done to bring my son to safety. So she moved an hour, 2 hours away from where she was to get away from the situation that she was in, all because of a conversation of me giving her the resources.
Yeah.
Find that support. And the icing on the cake was I was the one who signed a lease with her. I was the one that toured the unit with her, and I was the one that gave her the key. And as soon as I gave her the key, she began to cry. And for me, it's just like, this is what affordable housing is about.
Yeah.
Giving them the opportunity to have something to call their own, their home, their safety net, you know, especially when there's children involved. That is why I'm still in affordable housing.
Yeah. Oh, Gladys, that's a beautiful story. It gave me goosebumps twice. It's a beautiful story. I couldn't agree more. And I love, you've touched on so many demographics here that affordable housing impacts, and that there are so many different groups that really need that assistance. Talking about our veterans and our seniors, and women who, whether they're just single mothers or they've experienced domestic violence, there's so many groups of individuals in our society that really need that sort of help, and they're underserved and informed, just ignorant to the availability of these options that are out there, and or there's just not enough of them. And so I think, groups like Devon being there to help create this community, and then you being there to ensure that they're managed properly, and that the information is widely given, and that they have a safe place to come to. It's just so impactful. And I do want to take a step back and just also say, thank you to your son for his service. Is he still in the Army today?
He is still in the Army. He's a lieutenant.
Oh, wow.
And he's yeah, it's nerve-wracking with what's going on in the world right now.
Yeah, no kidding.
Lie. And I dread the call where he has to,
Deploy.
deploy rather. And we're proud of
Yeah.
him. And we just, pray that everything goes well.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate his service. My husband was in the military, in the Army as well. Spent a lot of time in Iraq. It was very scary. I understand that fear really well, but so grateful for those who are brave enough and who are committed enough to this country to do that, show up for us. So,
I mean, and as a parent, it's not our first choice for our kids, right? But you
No.
have to respect them as they grow.
Yeah.
And, if this is what they want to do, you have to support them and, kind of, okay,
Yeah.
pray
Yeah.
it all goes well, and let them do their thing.
Yeah. And being a lieutenant is no joke. That's hard work, and highly commendable. So you've obviously set him up for some pretty great success in his career. So.
I would say his dad and I, but yes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know his dad. And so
Credits too.
I don't know his dad. You're on my podcast. You're getting all the credit here, Gladys. You can just take it. I love it. Well, gosh, Gladys, I've enjoyed our time together so much. We've been on for a while. I don't want to abuse my time with you. So I guess, I want to ask, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners before I move on to our questions? I know that, there are other things we could talk about, like how times are challenging in property management today, and what you're doing, and how you're adapting to that, or really anything else that's happening in property management. So if there's anything else you want to talk about, I'm going to kind of put the question in your hands. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners?
So, you have to keep your employees in the forefront. Don't forget them, right? Don't forget about your residents as you're growing, and as you're incorporating AI into your systems, and automating, what you can possibly automate. AI is great, it'll make life easier, and procedures more efficient, but don't forget the main reason why you're an affordable house.
Yeah.
Lose that connection with your residents, and don't lose that connection with your employees. It's important to be transparent with them all, and make sure that you continue on with your mission and your values of why you started your company to begin with.
Yeah, I will not forget when you and I first spoke, you used this phrase that I absolutely loved. But you said that you love to share and inform others because it creates forward motion. And based on this podcast, I can tell that that's who you are. You are creating forward motion, and not at all just for yourself, but for everyone around you and everyone you can impact. It's beautiful.
Yeah, going forward is always a positive thing. I try, every day I wake up with a positive mind. Today's gonna be a great day, and no matter what happens, because in property management, everything and anything can possibly happen on the right?
Yeah.
And it can deter your mindset from going to positive to negative. Oh my God, I'm having a bad day. Well, no, you decide that, right?
Yep.
You decide whether you're going to have a good day or a bad day, and whether what happened, you're going to allow it to affect you. You have the ability to control that. And when it comes to property management, you got to learn how to leave it at the door.
Yeah.
Don't go home, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's property management. It's one of those things that I don't believe a lot of people go out looking for. It kind of shows up on your lap and you make the best of it. I personally am grateful that it's in my life and it happened the way that it happened, because it's humbled me, it's taught me, and it's, I'm able to give back and teach back. And that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah.
My kids have seen me from down under up to where I am today. My oldest is 29 years old. And he tells me, Mom, I'm proud of you,
Yeah.
So it's rewarding.
Yeah.
It's rewarding. Property management can be rewarding if you allow
Yeah.
it to.
Yeah. If you choose that mindset.
If you choose
Every
it.
day.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. Well, Gladys, this was such a great conversation. I've truly enjoyed speaking to you. I feel like I've learned so much. And honestly, just from a spirit perspective, you just have such an amazing spirit. And I love the way that you think about so many things and how you're giving back to not only the industry, but all the people that you interact with. So it's just, your story is beautiful. So is your soul. It's been just an awesome time getting to know you. So I really appreciate it. And then I always wrap up with 2 questions, but I feel like I have to ask first if I'm allowed to ask you for another question, the first question, if I'm allowed to ask it, because you already gave me a story and it was such a beautiful story. It really gave me chills twice. So I want to ask, do you want to share another story with our listeners? Do you have another one picked out? Or if not, that's okay. If
The one you shared was the one.
Another story.
I don't want to be greedy.
I mean, not one that sticks out like that particular one. It's just, no, I mean,
like I said, I shouldn't be greedy. That story was absolutely beautiful.
yeah, I can't pinpoint one. I mean, I've gone through so many stories.
Yeah.
I've gone through so many experiences sitting at the site level. I mean, I've had water thrown on me, rats thrown on me. I mean, I've had all sorts of things. And all I took from all of that was, they're having a bad day. I can't make it worse. How do I make it better for them? So I can't pinpoint another story other than the one I said.
Gladys, if someone threw a rat at me,
I don't think I would give a flying, you know what?
if someone was having a bad day. I have a feeling I'd be real ready to make their day worse.
Yeah. I just, I kind of looked at it like, okay, I'll send maintenance over.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Gladys, you are a saint. I would have gone ahead and made their day worse real quick. Oh my goodness. That is funny. I'll end with that one. And then my last question that I'm going to ask is, do you have a book that you would like to recommend to our listeners?
I haven't read books in a while, but the COO of our company recently gave a group of us this book called Extreme Ownership.
Oh, yes.
Love Jocko.
Starting to read it. It's extremely interesting. And the gist of it is that this book is written by 2 U.S. Navy SEALs who went to Iraq, and they're in war, and they're the leaders of their team, and they're trying to get things going, but they apply it to everyday life, to business, to leadership, and to how to build your teams and win. I'm not too deep into it yet, but it is exciting, and I feel like it's definitely going to make a difference with, how I incorporate what I learned from this book with my team.
Yeah, it's Jocko is the book's fantastic. The author is also fantastic, and I love to listen to. I struggle to find time to read too, so I've found a way to balance it by listening to audiobooks in the mornings while I'm getting ready and just kind of
That helps, yes.
Yeah.
well, if you're looking to try, I will say Extreme Ownership, really any of Jocko's books are such easy reads. He has such a unique voice and it's very engaging. It's hard to get distracted, which sometimes I can struggle with when I'm listening, but it's hard to get distracted. He's like has a very commanding voice, so you just listen to it.
I
So
can sense that just reading the book.
yes, yes. And he reads his books on the Audibles. He reads it. So I highly, highly recommend that book as an Audible listen. Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
awesome. I'll definitely try that.
Yeah. Well, Gladys, thank you so much for your time today. I don't mean to gush over you, but I've just been so impressed. I've had such a fantastic time getting to know you and what you're doing and what Devon's doing. And if I had any assets in your neck of the woods, you'd be managing them. So
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Please spread the word. We're here for whoever needs our services, and we're really, really excited to share what we've done over the last 30, 40 years with others.
yeah, love it. All right. Well, Gladys, thank you so much again for being here.
Thanks for having me. Love the opportunity.